Well, guys, it's been a while, a red hot minute for that, but we are back, the What's Not Sports podcast, and this is episode 70, and we're here for the pulse check. And look, we have been away. We have also been doing a few things here and there with the studio. If you checked out my Instagram, you know that there's a bit of a fix it up series at the moment, so that's what's happening all with that. But that's okay because I feel like I have produced enough content for you guys. We had a huge weekend a couple weeks ago. I believe it was round 9 of the NRL. We gave you, we brought you the Dolphins versus Storm at Suncorp on a Friday night. We followed it up at Cbus Stadium with the Titans versus the Raiders, and then we followed that up with an AFL game, the Suns versus GWS at Metricon, which is now known as People First Stadium. I produced a lot of reels and content during that period, and I hope you guys, the fans, actually quite enjoyed that. It was awesome. It was awesome to see the Dolphins beat Storm. It was awesome to see the Raiders get the win over the Titans because, being there in person is awesome. We got to see our mate Owen Paddy. We gave him one of our hats. It was pretty cool. And then, we got to enjoy ourselves and watch a bit of AFL to finish off our week and watch the Suns get the win. And we saw one of the 10 Talk boys there, Stu Duff, so that was pretty cool. But that's where I've been a bit AFK in the studio, but that's all right. We're here now. I've also a little bit busy with some other external learning, you might call it. And that's university studies, if you guys didn't pick up on that. But that's okay. We've got our recap for round 10 of the NRL. We got to talk about a few things before we even talk about round 11, because I'm actually glad I haven't even done this podcast until tonight. It is Thursday night. I'll try and drop it tonight, if not Friday morning. I want to watch the Ladies' State of Origin tonight, so if it doesn't get done, I apologise. Super disappointing that I won't be down at Magic Round this year. The Raiders got the sack. I should say they got the bye. We're playing the bye round this weekend, so we didn't get the call up. Devastating because we have the best win record for Magic Round, so it's it brings a tear to my eye. But nonetheless, it still would have been a very cool event, but decided not to go. Thursday night, which is tonight, State of Origin for the women's at Suncorp. I reckon the ladies get it done. And then 2 games tomorrow on Friday, 3 games Saturday, and 3 games on Sunday. We'll get to that in a second. But let's kick off with the round 10 recap and then talk a little bit about what's going on in NRL at the moment and just some insane things. And then we'll jump into Magic Round. And then for those who are feeling the season of Origin, we've got Wilbur's Queensland squad, the 19 players. I think that'll be not the full extended squad, but the 19 boys that'll be picked on that 6-man bench as well. So let's start it off with the round 10 recap. We had the Dolphins versus the Dogs. The Dolphins absolutely pumped the Dogs here, 44-12. This was Thursday night footy last week. I thought the first 10-20 minutes was all the Dogs. It was 12-0. And then the Dolphins did what they did to the Storm the week before and absolutely put so much pressure on them and bulldozed them for the next 60 minutes. It was quite a performance. The Dogs looked nowhere. I don't know where you go, what the problem is. Does the problem go back to the young bloke and of Lockie Galvin? Is that the crux of your problems, or is there a few other underlying issues there at the club? Roosters versus Titans, 28-12. Look, a little bit disappointed in this. Robert Toyer's try, unfortunately, I don't think it was a try, and they got very lucky with that. And it's very unfortunate for the Titans. They played a very good game. It was actually pretty close, but not just this, a game can be so close for 60 minutes and then it opens up and then it looks like it's a blowout game, or 70 minutes and then a team scores 2 tries in the last 5 minutes. It's ridiculous. But yeah, 28-12, Roosters got it done now. Cowboys versus Eels, I was fuming at this game. I didn't get to see the Roosters Titans game or the Cowboys Eels game because I was watching the AFL. I was down in Brisbane again to watch that. But man, it really disappointed me. The Cowboys game broke my heart. Tom Dearden. Look, for me that's a hip drop, and it's way worse than the hip drop Api Coruscant put on Noel Martin, and we know Noel Martin will be out for the whole season. That hip drop, it has no penalty, no sin bin, no nothing. Very lucky for those Para boys, and very unlucky for Tom Dearden, who is now out for the whole Origin season, unfortunately, and that breaks my heart because Origin 3 last year, we wouldn't have won the series without Tom Dearden, and that's just a statement. We know how much I love him on the pod, so just seeing our saviour not be our halfback for Origin actually breaks my heart. But we will go into it, who I think his replacement is. We'll go into that before we go into the Origin squad, because that is actually quite a bit I want to unpack there. But the Cowboys-Eels game, 30-33, I believe it was the first ever game to win by 3 points in Golden Point. Yeah, so what happened? Mitch Moses goes to take the drop out, and Scotty Drinkwater's running, hits his feet, collects Mitch Moses. The ball still goes over. It's a field goal. They win the game 31-30, but Scott Drinkwater gets penalised, and a 2-point penalty goal is awarded in front of the goal. So everyone's going, what the hell? Even Mitch Moses was like, no, we don't need to take it. We've won the game. Let us just win. It's like, no, you got to take the 2 points. After he did that, everyone was wondering what happens if Mitch Moses missed and it bounced off the post, and then does the game just end, or does it play on and Scotty Drinkwater can catch the ball and go the whole way down the field? I don't know. But that's obviously, since then, the NRL's gone, no, the whistle would have been done, blown full time there. So at least we got clarity on that. But it did bring up some fascinating points and a bit more questions around the NRL, and which I like. I like it. What have we got? We have Dragons versus Knights, and I laughed when I saw this because I didn't really watch this game, but I saw what Dylan Brown said, and he obviously didn't mean this as an insult, but it was hilarious the way he said it. He was like, the first 7 minutes of the game was really challenging and it was really tight, and then that was it. The first 7 minutes of the game, and which is 100% not wrong and 100% true. They dominated the Dragons 44-10. So the Dragons are still losing, and it's not looking good for them. South absolutely pummeled the Sharks 36-12. I had that game in the background, and it's just Sharks are nowhere. South scored another one. Latrell, and I'm not talking about Latrell Mitchell. It's a young fella who made his debut. I don't think debut actually, but I wrote down the last name. I might get it wrong. Latrell Segerwalt. I don't know if that's pronounced properly. I apologise, but he had a fantastic game. Absolutely killing it for South. Very happy. Manly versus Broncos. Manly absolutely pumped the Broncos 32-4. An already depleted Broncos side. Manly, they're playing Fosball. They only narrowly lost to the Panthers the week before. They're looking like the real deal. Ever since Foz has gotten the reins and we have seen Fosball, they have been so dominant. And look, I'm glad we played them in round one. Storm Tigers, the Storm's back, 44-16 blowout game. Munster looking good. Sewer looking good. Hughesy looking good. They all just looked good, and it was finally the Storm we know, which is a bit sad because we see the end of the Storm losing, I think, for a while, and they're going to go on a run potentially and come back into the top 8, potentially even the top 4. So scary thoughts, scary thoughts. And then to finish the weekend, we had the Milk versus Penrith at GIO. This game was the best game of the week, and I say that as a biased fan, but also an unbiased lover of the game. The first half was perfect, 100% completion rate by both sides, nearly 50-50 possession. Like, it was beautiful footy. 18-12 at halftime. Just after halftime, the boys come out, 18 all. And then it was really the last 20 minutes, last 15 minutes. Both teams actually got very fatigued. Lots of errors came out of Penrith and Raiders. It was the fact that Penrith took up those opportunities and were able to score off the Raiders' errors, where the Raiders weren't as good at executing and scoring. But it was actually quite a close game. Like, 12 points in it, that's not even a blowout in today's game, because to win a game, and this shows it this round, you need 30 points, because if you don't have 30 points, your opposition will. The only time it didn't happen was the Roosters game, which was 28-12, which, honestly, that's close enough to 30. Like, if you know what I'm saying. Like, that is how the game is now, especially with the 6 again calls. It's a faster game. Defense is no longer the best offense. And it's just, you can't win by defense because teams are just going to score. So it's literally who can score the most now, who can get the most points. And I get that the whole game is whoever has the most points scores. But it was also about defending and keeping the team that you're against at nil or at a low score. Now it's just, we got to have more points than them. If they've got 30 points, we got to have 32 to win. Like, that's how it is. It is a different style of the game, and look, it's changed a lot, and I don't know if we'll see more rule changes come in next season that'll revert it back to a slower, I wouldn't even say slow, like a slightly slowed version of what the game is now, and we don't see blowout games or games where you need 30 points to win. And that's my opinion on that. Okay, because this stuff's a bit fresh, I didn't actually have it written down in my notes. Some news not so fresh from the last couple of weeks. PNG Chiefs signed 2 fantastic players, Jerome Luai and AJ, Alex Johnston. So, very, very good signings. That's probably 2 very influential players, I guess, to the media at least, especially Alex Johnston breaking the try scoring record and then going to PNG and will obviously continue to score tries. And then you've got Jerome Luai, arguably one of the best halves in the game. He's playing 5'8" at the moment, so it'll be interesting to see if he plays. He can play a bit of both, so let's see if he plays halfback or if he plays 5'8" still when he goes over there. He'll be the captain of the team, steering the ship. A lot of people weren't happy with him, but like Luai said, he was always going to stick out his contract. He's not leaving mid-contract, mid-season. People got to realise that's the difference between him and Galvin. Perth Bears starting to build a very good roster. There was a bit of heated conversation with Paul Gallen about how Perth haven't done enough, but we're starting to see a bit more movement. Tanner Boyd asked for an early release from the Wars, and they've granted him that because Tanner Boyd has been so good since Luke Metcalf's injury, especially this year. And look, I get it. It's a little bit disappointing, I personally think. Sick it out a little bit, Luke Metcalf, because Tanner Boyd gets injured. You're the guy that they want to call up, but obviously not too much of the case there. He felt differently, and it looks like the Dragons might be the front runner for him, which honestly they need good halves. I just want to think, imagine if they kept Lockie Ilias and then they've got Luke Metcalf. Potentially, that's a very good halves pairing there, because we know Lockie Ellis, he is still developing as a player, and he could potentially, like, maybe he's not quite up to the A-grade standard yet, but he hasn't got the time that he should have, and that's unfair on him. So give him a bit more time, and I reckon those two boys could have been a great combo at the Dragons in the future, but yeah, probably not now. But I don't think we'll actually see Luke Metcalf end up in. I don't think we'll see him end up at the Dragons. I feel like there'll be a lot more teams on the horizon that'll want Luke Metcalf more than the Dragons, and that he probably will want to go to. What else do we have? Oh, big news. Big news. Only broke yesterday. Ivan Cleary hanging up the coach's hat, at least at club level footy in rugby league, after next year. We see a whole list of Penrith players that are off contract at the end of 2027. Nathan Cleary being one of them. Nathan Cleary going from always wanting to be Penrith boy to now this season going, let's check out the open market. Where does this put Nathan? Where does this put Ivan? I don't mind the whispers or the chat about PNG. Like there was an article that I read today that Nathan, if he goes there, $3 million a year, $1.5 million from PNG, and then another 1.5 in third-party deals. Far out, that's a lot of money. Crazy to turn that down. The other thing, he was offered £1 million to go over to Hull KR, I believe it was. Maybe he wants to go over there, spend some time with Mary Fowler. I like that theory because there's heaps of rumours about the NRL wanting to buy and own the Super League. So that I don't find too crazy. I just am not sure what happens. And does Ivan go and just coach rep footy? Does he become an assistant coach? Or alternatively, do we see him go over to Union? That's very interesting now. But I feel like Penrith might have a few things to worry about with Ivan retiring, and it's no hate on them. Like, obviously, they have a great program that bred a lot of good athletes through, but we could see it change very quick, and it might take another 10 years to rebuild. Okay, cool. Let's jump into round 11, Magic Round. Or not so Magic Round because the Raiders aren't there. The Magic Milk aren't there. So they put on a performance every year for you guys, and I guess you don't want that. And that's just how it is sometimes, but here we go. We got the Sharks versus Bulldogs, South versus Dolphins. Those both on Friday night. Tigers versus Manly, Roosters versus Cowboys, and Parramatta versus the Storm on Saturday. Titans versus Newcastle, the Wars versus Broncos, and the Panthers versus the Dragons, and the Raiders on the bye. Didn't know we had two teams having the bye this weekend. Just kidding, but Penrith will play the Dragons, and I believe they'll be could be the first 200-point game we ever see this season. In NRL history. Call me crazy, but I think it could happen. They're playing a full-strength squad, but also, every year, Penrith seem to somehow lose to the team on the bottom of the ladder. But the Dragons, I don't think we've seen a team this bad ever. So I'm not going to say that will come true this season because I don't think it will. But for the Sharks-Dogs game, I think the Doggies get the win. They claw back a little bit after it's been a rough few weeks since the Penrith game, but I think they get the win there. I reckon South get the win over the Dolphins. South, they're looking dangerous. Latrell's back. He want to be firing for Origin selection. Manly, they beat the Tigers. Fosball's insane. The Tigers have copped it the last couple of weeks. Are we seeing him drop back down out of the 8 and down? Prices are down. But yeah, Manly get the win with Fozball there. Jamal Fogarty back, which is huge. We'll talk about him in a second. Roosters versus Cowboys. No, Tom didn't. I think the Roosters get the win there. It breaks my heart to say it. Parramatta versus Storm. Storm's back. They already smashed Para this year in the first game. Para's a bit lost at the moment, but the Storm, if they can perform like how they did against the Tigers last week, they'll have no problems beating Parramatta. Titans versus Newcastle. Newcastle incredible last week over the Dragons. Marzu scoring 5 because 5's just pretty cool. That's how many fingers you got on one hand. But the Titans, I think that game against the Roosters, 100% a good confidence booster. Starting to work their things out. I reckon the Titans get the win there over Newcastle. It's a little bit of a shock one. Now, the Warriors versus Broncos. Look, honestly, I wanted to pick the Broncos, but at the same time I didn't, and I won't be. They are a very, very depleted squad. Very injury-ridden at the moment, and I don't think they've got what it takes to beat a very, very hungry New Zealand team that are second on the ladder at the moment, I think, that are absolutely firing this season. Unfortunately for the Broncos, they're not getting it done at home in Magic Round. And then Penrith versus Dragons, I already told you, Panthers by 200 points. And the Raiders beat the by 30 plus. And, yeah. Now, let's get into the vibe of Origin. Because that's what we're all here for about. Like, that's what we all care. And I've got a special document for this. And I thought about doing a separate video, but you know what? I'm going to speed it up a little bit, and it's not here. That's all right. It's not on my phone, but it'll be on my laptop. Bear with me 2 seconds, please. Maybe a slight bit longer. Come on. Apologies. I am very sorry for this. I was very, very prepared for all of this, and then now, obviously, I was not prepared enough. But here we go. We're going to talk about the debate with Tom Dearden out, who will be the Queensland halfback, who actually has what it takes to be that man. And look, I'm telling you right now, that man is Jamal Fogarty. Blows your mind, eh? A Raiders fan who's devastated by Jamal leaving the Raiders is rooting for the guy while he's at Manly and wants him to be the Origin halfback. Call me crazy, but I think it is the call. So, when you think of Queensland halfbacks, you got to think of Alfie Langer, JT in those 2000s before Cooper Cronk came in, and then Cooper Cronk at halfback, and then obviously DCE, and then Tommy Dearden. We know Ben Hunt has been in now that position of filling it a few times, but he's also a bit of a utility. But yeah, you think of these guys, and they've got heart oversized. Their game management IQ is just next level. But like, what makes them so elite is their ability to play eyes up footy. And now, out of all these blokes, they've all got this X factor, and it's what it adds to Queensland, and it's what they need. But now, let's not look at the past. Let's look at the future, and the future is for 2 weeks' time, and we'll find out. I think it's a Monday night. So, look, our choice would have been simple. Tom Dearden, we all knew that, but he's got injured, come down with syndesmosis, so say goodbye to his Origin series. It hurts. Let's have a look who Billy will want for this series. For me, here I've got 7, maybe 8 picks that could be possibilities there's a few that like they're possibilities, but probably not. And we'll rule those out in a second. But let me just get them out. So Jaden Campbell from the Titans, DCE, Sam Walker, Ben Hunt, Kalen Ponga, Jake Clifford, Tanner Boyd, and who I said earlier, Jamal Fogarty. Those are my thoughts there. 8 of them. Now let's just knock out who is a possibility, but probably won't be picked. Jaden Campbell, he's got a lot of potential and a lot of talent. We haven't seen enough of it at the Titans. We just haven't seen enough of it at all, so I don't think he gets picked there. DCE, Billy would only go back to DCE if it's shambles and another halfback that is a front runner gets injured. Honestly, the only reason why I can see Billy picking DCE this Origin series is if Cam Munster gets injured, and then another running forward, like another halfback, is injured. Then that's when you go, okay, let's bring DCE back, and then let's put someone into 6. That's what I'm thinking. But look, that's a last resort. It's if we get injuries and it's game 3 or like something like that. Ben Hunt. We know how heroic his acts were in 2023. But he's more of a utility player, I reckon. I reckon if he is in the Origin side, he'll be at 14. And look, he's just a bit battered and bruised at the moment. I just don't think at this point of time he'll be in the Origin squad. Maybe for game 2 and game 3 if he's performing. But yeah, I don't think, unless Harry, I don't even think we see him in this first game for Queensland at all. If we do, it'll be in the role as 14 and definitely not our starting 7. Now, with those guys gone, let's talk about the real front runners for who our 7 could be. Sam Walker, Kalen Ponga, Jay Clifford, Tanner Boyd, and Jamal. But look, I don't think we go with Sam Walker. I just don't think he has the game management skills quite yet. He could definitely be if something happens in the future again and he continues on his quite good reign at the moment of being the halfback for the Roosters. That's when I think he'll get the call up. But at the moment, I don't think he's there. Kalen Ponga. I think we see him, similar to Ben Hunt, I think we see him in the 14 jersey to spice things up after maybe into the second half. He won't be the starting fullback. That'll be Reece Walsh. Walsh, he's been pretty good form just in general. But yeah, no Kalen Ponga. You can't really have 2 running halves with Munster is most effective when he's charging the line and he's doing the work, like doing the grunt work like that and up in their face. You can't really have Munster doing that if you've also got Kalen Ponga doing that, unless you swap. But then I feel that takes away from Munster's ability, having Munster play 7. Jake Clifford and Tanner Boyd, very, very similar boat at the moment. Both are playing incredible footy at the moment. But this is their best season so far. And it's not enough to go, they're ready for Origin rep. Here's why Jamal Fogarty is the correct option. Jamal, he's an older player. I think he's 29 now. He's experienced. He's level-headed. His game management IQ is insane. He's got really good kicking game. And look, he does play eyes-up footy, especially within the 10 and 20 metres of the opposition's half. So, like when they're trying to score. Great eyes-up footy there to just pop out a good play. Jamal, he doesn't have X factor though. And that's what so many 7s for Queensland have had. But I think this is what makes Jamal so deadly, is that he might not have X factor, but he knows how to unlock the X factor of the players around him. Like, he's got a lot of experience with a running 5'8". he did it with Ethan Strange for the last couple of years. He had Ethan Strange, they were in the halves together. Ethan Strange is 100% a running half. Jamal knew how to work with Ethan Strange, allow him to do what he needed to do, and just had really good management and IQ. You needed someone with good defense and just good kicking, and that's what Jamal had. And he was also able to unlock Kyo Weeks, insane fullback. You've got an insane fullback in the Queensland side in Reece Walsh. Even if it's Kalen Ponga, I think Jamal will be able to unlock and help find something fresh out of that. He's just got that ability to unlock the players around him. And then you don't need someone with the X factor when you can just let Munster have the reins with the X factor. Make those runs, attack that line, have that line speed, all those things. Let Munster just be the show pony he is and let him do what he does best. And Jamal, you just need to be reliable on your kicking, reliable on your defence, good game IQ, good game management, those things. And I think he's got it sorted. And I can't remember who I saw say this. Jamal obviously led a very young team of Raiders boys to the finals. They won minor premiers, insane feat there. He lacks in icing those high intense games, like field goals, things like that, high pressure moments. He doesn't crack, but he just doesn't ice them. He doesn't need to ice them in this team. You've got the boys around him that can absolutely ice it, like Cam Munster. So that's why I think Jamal Fogarty is the correct option for the Queensland 7 position. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. If you want to fight me over it, you can meet me at the car park at Suncorp Stadium after Game 3 when we clean sweep the series. You can meet me at Caxton after Game 3 when Queensland clean sweep the series, and Jamal is the halfback. Here's to Jamal. Right. Now that we've decided on who our halfback is, let's talk about our squad. Who is our squad? And let's just go straight into it. At fullback, we've got Reece Walsh. We all know why, no explanation needed. It was between him, Kalen Ponga, and the Hammer, but I don't see Ponga starting over Walshy. I see him in a different role, but I see the Hammer starting on the wing. A lot of talk about Selwyn Cobbo. I just don't think Cobbo has been excellent this year, and I don't think he gets that spot, and I think the Hammer will be deadly on the wing, pairing him with Robert Toyer. I reckon that'll be great, those two together. Our other centre, Shibasaki, I know he's been so hit and miss this season so far, but when he's on, and he will be on for Origin. On the wing, with our boy Sheba, will be Murray Taulangi. And then our halves, obviously our captain, Cameron Munster, absolutely played fantastic on the weekend against the Tigers. He'll have another big game, and we know he'll be Origin ready. Just as I said, Jamal will be playing 7. It'll be incredible. Our front, our big boys, our props, I reckon we've got Ruben Cotter and Tino Fa'asua Malawi, and Harry Grant obviously playing hooker. Our second row, Kurt Capewell and Lukey. I know Kurt hasn't done much this year. He didn't do a lot last year, but he stepped up, got the call back from Billy after being dropped from the side, and absolutely contributed to Queensland's win last Origin. So Capewell, 100%. I honestly think that could be our best option for the second row. Maybe Mo Fodawaker, but I'm not 100% sure on that. And then obviously Patrick Carrigan at lock. I know he's also been on and off, but it's Origin. I just don't know who else to put there. On the bench, Kalen Ponga at 14. We talked about this earlier. I think that's the role he's going to play. Big Red, Corey Horsburgh, get him off the bench. He'll be on the bench, I reckon. I won't be surprised if he is a starting prop, or even starts at lock, and Patrick Carrigan starts on the bench. Red's been good this season so far, and for those that say he hasn't, just don't get it. Lindsay Collins off the bench and Tom Gilbert as well. both have been a little bit hit and miss, but they'll have good games this weekend, and they will show us what they can do. And yeah, and then obviously we've got 6-man bench, so might just be the 2 reserves, or they will play games depending if anyone has injuries. And I reckon that's Ezra Man and Ben Hunt, 18th and 19th man. So there you go. That is my Origin squad. Next week we will talk and compare the Origin squads, because it will be officially out next week, and I'm so excited. I love Origin, if you didn't know. And the Raiders will be back next week, and all will be right in the world. But we won't even talk about New South Wales, because none of that loser energy in the building, please. But Queenslander. That's all I've got for this episode of the What's Not Sports podcast, guys. Stay tuned on Instagram. I'm being a bit more social there. Finally, after long talks about being there, we've got things going on there, and we've got a bit of momentum. There'll be at least 1 reel a week, hopefully more. I'll get better on that, but that's that. And hope you enjoyed this episode of the Pulse Check, and we will be back next week. Catch you later.